Welcome to Collector Chatter. In today's episode, we're going to talk to one of the members from the new Thrilljoy Fan Advisory Board, as well as the creator of one of the original Thrilljoy News Instagram pages. Can't wait to chat with him about all things collecting, especially Thrilljoy.
We're pumped for this episode. Collecting is the way. Now let's chat.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Collector Chatter. This is episode 135. I am Migs with Charlie as always, but we are here with a special guest. Like I said in the original intro, we have Alex here for Thrilljoyseeker.
Yes.
What's going on?
What's up, guys? How are you? Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan, and let's get into some nice topics, get to know each other a little better, and talk some collecting stuff.
We're so pumped to have you. This has been a long time coming. Obviously, great friend of the channel. We love your content, and
appreciate that.
Let's just start off right there with that. Let us know a little bit what you do collect personally, but then what made you start the Thrilljoyseeker account. I mean, you were one of the first Thrilljoy accounts, which is pretty cool.
Definitely, yeah. So my kind of collecting journey first started with sneakers. Since high school, I was super into Jordans. I graduated 2010, so around 2008, 2009, that's when it really picked up and I really got into it. I really just started kind of collecting, but I never called it collecting. I just started getting stuff that I liked, stuff that was hyped at the time. Space Jams were coming out at that time and stuff. Red 11, stuff like that. And I never really explored the world outside of that, of what collecting meant. As I went into a little bit deeper, you would see, these are considered grails, so it's limited edition stuff, and what that means, and when they're released, where they released, Asia exclusives, Tokyo exclusives. So I really dove deep into that stuff, and that's what really made my collecting come out. But I never really transitioned to collectibles at all. I didn't really know that was a world, that was a culture, that was a thing.
You would never
I didn't
know.
really, yeah. I mean, it was a whole world that I had no idea about, and I think I went into. It may have been a random Hot Topic or box lunch. I was looking for specific something. I don't even remember what, but I just walked in and I saw a Toy Story figure. I was like, oh, that's one of my favorite movies as a kid. Let me just pick up this Woody. Or no, it was a Buzz Lightyear. And let me just pick this up. And I had no idea what Funko was. I had no idea. It was funny. I pictured a curtain behind the scenes of this whole world behind you, or opening the door to Narnia. I was this whole world. Had no idea what Fundays was. I had no idea what these massive collections and grails and what it's true to. I just like it, and that's what it is. So that's what really attributed my kind of dipping my toes into the water of what that was. And then I said, I guess my interest peaked. I'm if there's one, I see another other figures in the back, maybe there's more, maybe that's what it means. So I got more into it, researching. And so at that point, I had no idea these mega grills existed, these 1 of 24 pieces, 1 of 12 pieces. I had no idea. And I was content just going into Hot Topic with boxes, oh, this is cool. Well, we know comments now, and I had 5 became 10, 10 became 20. And kind of my nerd researcher side came out, and I just started going into it. And all right, I need to know everything about this company, because if I'm going to start putting my money into this, or just even buying things for my what was a very small collection at the time, let me learn more about it. Let me really get really into it. And I started exploring and seeing, what it meant, the history, where it came from, and all stuff. And it genuinely sparked a crazy interest, I guess, void that I had. At that time, I stopped collecting sneakers a lot. It's just something that I wasn't really into. So kind of had that void of wanting want to feel that kind of like the collecting aspect back, and I
Yeah.
think Funko filled that completely, and I completely fell in love, and I started really getting into it to, you know, my as you see some of them here, like some of my collection here, and a little bit to the big, and like having like
Yeah.
this really cool collection, building it throughout the years. And then it kind of got to a certain point where kind of like my collector investor mind started to you know hit that wall
Excuse me.
where we saw a transition from the company, unfortunately, that you know re-releasing these grails, re-releasing these things,
Yeah.
and it that's kind of started to turn off. I was still a huge fanboy. I ended up going to the last Fundays that Mike was at, my first and
Oh,
ever one,
nice.
which was an incredible and awesome experience. I wasn't planning to go at all. It kind of just all fell together. That's kind of like a theme in my life, just like things happening at the perfect
which is
time.
cool.
And then it's like, you know,
Yeah, you go
if
with
this
it.
is something that you should be doing, then here you go. My wife's best friend had moved out to California to work for Jordan Brand. She was like, "You guys can stay in my spot,
Perfect.
we can or I can come down to San Diego and visit you guys because she lives closer to LA." I said, "All right, let's make it like a couples trip and let's just go out there." So kind of like everything worked out together um well, and I got to experience that, and I said like I hate that this is the last one that Mike's going to be a part of
Mhm.
because he was such an if I never met him in person until then, unfortunately, because it's very far in between the
Yeah.
opportunities that you have
Yeah, of course.
to meet him and things like that. Uh, but I said to myself, damn, if I would have seen this 10 years ago, 8 years ago, like a fun days, I would have been just like fanatic of the year type of thing. Because that's just the energy like he brings, that kind of like the charisma, the I call it the Willy Wonka esqueness
Yeah.
to
That's a
it.
great
That
way of
Yeah,
saying
it's
it.
perfect.
right, so it's and you know Charlie, like the story that you mentioned is like you meet this guy, you just like, dude, whatever you want, like I
It's
will
unreal.
run through a wall, not because like you're motivating me to, but like I would do this for you because you're so
Yeah.
genuine and loving and caring and all that stuff. So that's what really kind of like made me really attached, seeing it from afar. And then seeing it in person, that was like, damn, like if if you still hit that collector side of me, I would have probably never wanted to explore outside of Funko because you guys have the IPs that I like. You have
Mhm.
all these ultimate grails for the collecting investing side, and you, for the most part, have a really great culture of collectors that just come together and build a community. Um, but because of those things, I kind of like transition again another void, right? It's like you're seeking for something that's going to fulfill all those needs. The collector investor side, the things that you say, hey, I'm one of X amount of people in this world, and no one's ever going to have this, which is great.
Mhm.
It's a great feeling to have as a collector, um, because it's kind of those goals that you may set for yourself. Some like to be completionists. Some like
Mhm.
to get every IP of something. Right? It's kind of those goals that you set for yourself as a collector to see if you can accomplishment. If you do, awesome. If you don't, but it was a great experience at the end of the day. So going into NYCC, we had all heard about this like new company, and obviously, you know, Brian's resume speaks for itself,
Yeah.
right? He he was a major part in creating this thing that we know today,
Mhm.
that we love today, that let us become collectors, wanted us, that came out of us to want to be collectors. So I said, you know, people like that usually don't miss. Right, that was always like our mindset. Even my collecting buddies, when we went into it, was like that was always our mindset going into it. It's like let's see. So he was saying all the things that we had major grievances with, right?
Yeah.
Limited piece counts.
Yeah.
We're gonna listen to you guys. We're gonna do all
Yeah.
these things.
All the stuff we were bringing up. Yeah.
Yeah, and that reignited the passion for sure. I had no kind of like anything in my mind. It's like I wanted to start a page. Like at that point, it was nothing. It was actually funny how I got this thing here, the
Oh yeah,
front of
the
line badge.
pass.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's a story that I tell a few people, but happy to share with you guys. So the first day of Comic Con, it was really fun. It was really exciting. The energy, everything. I'd gone some of the figures that I like. We saw that we're selling out. It was,
Mhm.
and remember, this is at the time. We don't know what's going on, like the
No,
online stuff,
Yeah, it was
like
still
nothing,
so
right?
new.
the hype there was real.
Exactly. The hype
Yeah.
there was
It was
exact. It
the
was like
highest.
that V Friends level hype,
Yes,
Mhm.
right? It
it was
was just
awesome.
like they're right next to each other, and it was like at its
Boom.
peak.
Mhm.
So I don't think they had the panel that first day. I believe the panel may have been on Saturday. So I'd gone in. It was a super long day. I'd gone in, or whenever it was. I went to my car and I took like a 20-minute like power nap to like kind of like, and also like kind of like get away from everybody for 20 minutes because I
Yeah.
feel like
It's a
sometimes
lot.
you need exactly. Sometimes you kind of like need quiet for like 15, 20 minutes. So I went back inside. I met up with a few friends to meet up to go to the panel. I said, "Wait, let me go to the booth. I want to buy picks." I bought I think it may have been a Mars Attack. So I went in, just bought one. Don't know why, don't know how. I said, if I'm just buying one now, just in case I don't come back this way or something
Mhm.
happens, right? I was just trying to plan ahead. So I was joking with my buddies. I was like, it would be funny if like I told Brian while he's on stage, open this to see if like we get a chase or something or an ultra chase. Like that would be like an epic moment. So we get there, we're trying to find where the best places to sit, kind of like being strategic with it, like not
Yeah,
too
we
far,
picked
not too
bad
close.
seats.
Yeah, we were bad with that, but now we know.
So I ended up sitting, I thought in a great place. I think we were like fourth row. I was in like the second seat.
Mm.
As time moves on, every single person around me got something.
It's just like
The person to the front of me and back of me, to the left of me, who I came with, and the person across the aisle. I was like, yeah, there is no shot in the heck that they're giving me something, especially after everyone around me does.
Mhm.
On the very last one, one of the guys comes out. He has a badge. He's like he's trying to give it like, oh, he's pulling it back. He's having his whole show. Then he goes to the back. I said, nah, that's it. Like, done deal, right? 20 seconds later, I hear a roar back, and I see him running back down this way. So he brings out his phone to like start recording to make a video out of it. So I call him by name. I'm like, look, I'm a fan. He looks at me like this and he says, trade? I said, yes. So I throw the box at him and he puts a badge around me. And I said, all right, this is it.
That's
So
super cool.
that kind of experience kind of said, let me just build this page and let's see where it goes, type of thing. Like I said, it kind of tying back to what I was saying before, like, when life is you're supposed to do something in life, and
Mhm.
sometimes it gives you what you need, type of thing, or it directs you the way. If I would have gotten that badge, I don't know if I would have been motivated to do that. I don't know, but that kind of extra oomph made me kind of like want to break out of my shell, because throughout the years I accumulated a pretty substantial massive collection that when people look at it, they're like, "What?" I've never I've never been one to broadcast. I've never been one to like show off. I've never
Mm.
been, because that was always my mindset, and that was kind of like the negative also part of the community, kind of the spitefulness, or
Mhm.
sometimes like the kind of like negative energy that sometimes comes out of it. I never wanted to put myself out there like that. I was like, I love my collection. This is for me, and I don't need to show anyone.
Yeah.
That was always the way that I took it. And that experience kind of made me break out of my shell to kind of like change my perspective on it. It's like, you're not showing it off. You're just like telling other people, hey, I'm a fan of this.
Yeah,
You're a fan of that?
Mhm.
Let's talk. And I think that helped me break out of my shell and really become a fan of this. And the last, I guess, ingredient of that was uh, really being community based and really listening to the fans, and that's what they really pushed from the start, from the beginning. And I didn't get on to be a part of fan advisory board until December. So between all that time, I would shoot messages to Carissa. I'd be like, "Hey, I see this potential issue. Like, you should check this out." And it was just me being a fan and me wanting this company to grow and be bigger because it was hitting all of our wants and needs and grievances that we had with Funko collecting community. Right.
Hmm.
Uh, the bigger this got, the more stuff we would see. Right. That's kind of in my head what attributed to me going out of my way to trying to help out in that way. And building that trust, eventually being asked to be a fan advisory board was an amazing kind
That's
of like
awesome.
accomplishment.
Hmm.
Um, like seeing my journey of from where I started, or even before I started, like not even wanting to put my face on camera, not wanting to show off anything, to be like, hey, like we see how much you care and love this company, with nothing really to gain out of it, and because of that, we're rewarding that hard effort with asking you to join, be a part of this, which is really humbling, really amazing, and also being a part of like a great pool of like different people that I don't think I would have ever been close to or talked to or had any type of conversation with. I think that's the coolest part, to really expanding my community, expanding who I speak to, why they collected, why they started collecting. It's awesome to see those different perspectives and stuff.
Yeah.
That
I
was
was gonna
awesome.
say something real quick, but like it's really cool that like they chose you and you spoke to them, whatever, because like you said, when you started, like the page, it was really just like a news page, and you were just
Yeah,
putting out news. You didn't have your face on there or whatever.
exactly.
And
The way I
everyone
looked
they
at it
went
was
to,
like,
yeah, that's all it was.
exactly,
But everyone they
exactly
went
it.
to was like content creators that existed already, and like we knew them, or whatever. So like I remember like we really liked you and your page, and
Yeah.
we didn't even know you. And
hmm
then when we heard like, oh, you were going to be part of it, me and Charlie were saying like, people don't even know what he looks like. I wonder how this is going to go. But it was like
It was
awesome to
it.
think, because it was like they
Yeah,
knew how much passion you had and your content was legit. So
thank you. I really appreciate that. It's really humbling here, especially hearing from you guys. Yeah, like I listen to so much of your content episodes and stuff. So saying that
appreciate that.
it truly means a lot, coming from you both. And yeah, I mean, it's funny because around that time period, well, when I first started, I was like, I'm gonna be like the diss trackers of
Yeah,
like
that's what we
collecting
figured it
things,
was.
right?
That's
And I'm like,
we
like
legitimately were like, okay, we have to follow this account immediately. This is
Yeah,
going to
this
be the
is going to
dish
be
trackers for
distractors for
Thrilljoy.
Thrilljoy.
yeah, I was kind of like making a joke about it, and then it's actually funny because when around the time that actually before they even asked, I was telling my wife, I was like, should I like put my face on camera? Like I don't know. I feel like it's not like the requirement is becoming that, but like
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of like further break out of my shell, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
always the one like if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna try something. I'm like, let me just do it, right? Let me not half step in. Let me just go, uh, gas pedal to the floor.
Hmm.
So I was actually contemplating it. Um, they had asked me, it's like, oh, and like send a picture of you with like that we can post. And I said, all right, this is the decision whether I have to do it or not. I didn't, only because I wanted to be the one to like post my face first.
Yeah.
So I ended up saying, like, you know, I happily accept. I kind of like ignore the requirement of sending a picture, on purpose because I wanted to be the one like, hey, this is me. You like my stuff. Happy
Yeah.
that you're still around, and hopefully you'll continue to stick around, type of stuff. So that was kind of like my grand um unveiling or revealing of, of who I was.
It's funny. I remember immediately when that happened. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they like made him do that, or if this was just the time he wanted to do it.
No, yeah, it kind of just happened at the right time because I was honestly really contemplating it, and that asset I was like, all right, it's either they show me off or I show myself off. I'm like, it's time. So
We're happy you did.
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate that. It also like it helps with creativity because you're just not, hey, look what I got. Hey,
Hmm.
this is an update. It kind of like helps with getting those creative juices going
Mm-hmm.
and getting to like try out different stuff and not being not having that thought of like, oh, I can't be on camera or I can't do things like this, for example, right? It's like
Yeah,
like you're
exactly.
gonna
Yeah, no.
like blur me out or something for the whole time.
Exactly. So with that whole board, so like how involved are you, or like how much input do they really take from you guys, and like do you see like a lot of stuff that you guys talk about, like them implementing it and actually like taking, like, because they seem like they're really big about community, obviously. So that part of it, I remember that was one of the big things when we went to the panel as
Yeah.
well. We
Mhm.
weren't as lucky to get anything because we were idiots and sat in like the middle of the
Even
row,
though
which was the
everyone
worst
around
spot
us
ever.
got
But yeah, everyone around the
everything.
same situation. Everyone
Oh,
around us
really?
kept getting stuff. Yeah, it was weird.
Someone next to us got 2 things.
Two things. Yeah, it was so
You
mad.
should
I
have
don't
bought
want
a
to talk
Pix
about it.
and you should have bought a
I
Pix and
should have got
traded it like
something and
that,
traded it.
right?
Yeah.
I had my picks.
Yeah, we just didn't want to trade it because we were like, it was gold at that time, you know?
Yeah, right. That's what that's what I did. I was like, after I got that badge, I said, imagine there's like an ultra in there,
Like, yeah, 'cause you
like an
didn't even
ultra
know.
chase in there. I was like, oh no. But
That's so
then
true.
he ended up giving it to somebody else, just randomly. Like
Oh,
as I
nice.
was finishing off, he was like, "Oh, here," and they actually opened it. It was a hero. So I was like,
Ah,
"Okay,
that's very
good."
so yeah, so how's it go with the board and stuff, and like
It's awesome. They really do listen to us. Cursive does a great job of keeping us involved in terms of what are you guys hearing? What are you guys seeing? We have not not like like monthly calls or anything, but we do have calls where we get together. And our last call, which happened, I want to say 2.5 weeks ago, she was really receptive in terms of like, all right, what do you guys think would be great for the community in terms of seeing like different IPs, right?
mhm,
And like and taking notes down and us hearing from like different people contacting us and like, hey, I would really love to see this, and voicing our opinion, voicing our opinion on packaging, voicing an opinion on the awesome feedback that we're seeing, how excited people are after WonderCon, things like that. So, and when it comes to like things coming down in the future that unfortunately I can't talk too much
mhm,
about, um, them it's like, what do you guys think? So it's really genuine because we we've become kind of like the spokespeople for the community and for them seeing what they want, what would do well, how receptive they are from the extraordinary change. I feel like when we really think about it, like JoJo's only been around for less than 9 months, right?
mhm,
Which
It's
is crazy.
and it kind of feels like they've been around for so much longer, right? But it's amazing that a company is willing to do the transition, and obviously there's financial motivation that comes to it, but being as receptive as it is and being really creative of like what people would love, especially such a short amount of time, it's a great thing to see because if it was a different company or if it was a different ownership or whoever it may be, I can only imagine. I'm not saying this is Thrilljoy. I'm saying kind of at large. Some people may have an ego about it. Say, no, this is gonna work. This is
yeah,
this was the dream. How are we gonna move on, etc. And as amazing as they were, the number one kind of drawback to being a collector is space at the end of the day.
mhm,
Yeah.
So the the thought was there, right? It's you get that out of box and in box experience. You get high quality. You get limited piece counts. You get IPs that you didn't think would ever be made. You get IPs that you love in different ways. And I think taking all those ideas and doing it in a great community based experience that people can like do together instead of like, oh, my package came in, let me do an unboxing. Like you
mhm,
really just, let's say if you're at a con, you get a group of your three buddies and you turn into the thrill. It's a cool experience. So I think being as receptive as they've been has been an awesome thing to see. And that's what really motivates me to want to be a super involved advisory board member and being a part of it for the long run.
Going off of that, do you think that Thrilljoy needed to pivot to the what we now know as the picks in order to, I mean, I hate to say it, survive. And, I don't know if you know anything about this or if you could share, but, do you think Brian's upset that he had to pivot? Obviously, he I feel like he needed to for the company to stay afloat, but I knew how much like he talks so passionately about like the original, picks, now
Yeah,
the
for sure.
panoramics.
I personally don't know, so I can't speak on that. But I think at the end of the day, what he wants is to give the community what they
Want.
want and needed. Right.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, that's what it was. Obviously, this is a brainchild of his, and it's awesome creativeness, but it was always with the best intentions. At the end of the day, right? It's how do I appease all the inbox and out of box collectors that we used to have for Funko? How do we appease the grievances that they had we do that by having limited piece counts. So I think at the end of the day is it was motivated by making the community happy, right? And what was going to get the best experience for them at the end of the day. And I think that from the outside in, and knowing Brian as a person as much as I do know him, I don't text him, I don't talk to him on day to day and stuff. But just knowing the type of person that he is, the character that he has, and his real love of collecting, enjoying seeing the happiness in people's faces when they pull a chase or just collecting their favorite stuff, and really being a proponent for doing IPs that another company might not want to do because they don't think it'll do well.
Yeah.
But really wanting to do those things, like for example, Warrior of None. It's an amazing show. Um, but it's a very small probably
Yep.
portion of the collecting community, right? And because there are no collectibles out there, or because the consumer base isn't as large, for example, Star Wars, right?
Mhm.
But him willing to do that is just to, you know, trying to speak to collectors from all different segments. And I think at the end of the day, that's really the driving force of what it is. And it being a hit, obviously, it's taking off on which greater reaction. Maybe the same reaction for we had in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because when we get 1 in 10 YCC, we're like, oh my god, what is this,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Which we're seeing now, so it's the same. So I think the question is, how long does that last? And I think with this product, I think that would last much more long time for what it is and what they're producing.
Mhm.
Very well said. I mean, I think the pixels are like an unsung hero will ultimately be. I mean, I think they're so cool, and I
So yeah,
love that they kept
yeah,
the frame. They're so cool.
yeah. It's I think these have quietly become my favorite. To
Yeah.
be completely honest, it's the intensity of detail, like you said, keeping that frame aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
I think was an awesome job.
Mhm.
Um, and the intensity of detail from the larger ones of these, I think is just really, really cool. I was actually like moving some stuff around, and I saw like the mini pops, and I
The
was looking at
Mhm.
like
Bibbys.
versus the bigger ones.
Yeah.
I was like, why did I even get these? Like
Yeah.
it's such a stark, it's just a stark difference. I think they really did a great job with this, and the um the amount of different IPs that we would see in that
Yeah.
form, I think it would be a phenomenal hit.
Yeah. No, yeah, and I'm in, like you said something interesting before, like to me, this hype, because it's kind of back again, obviously with the new lines that are coming out. I do agree. I think this is gonna be a longer lasting hype, something that will sustain.
Yes.
Then we're gonna get into SDCC, which I'm sure will keep them going, and then New York Comic Con. So then they'll kind of be in a better run, because it's true at the beginning. New York
Hmm.
Comic Con, when they were first announced, like you said, we were all there. It was
Yeah.
crazy, and it was
Yeah.
like the biggest thing in the world. And then it did have its kind of roller coaster up and down throughout the time. But
Yeah.
I've said this in a previous episode, and like I love the fact that they did shift and
Yeah.
maybe make a turn that, whether they planned it or not, they
Hmm.
did it. And
Yeah.
it's working, and they listened to everybody, and they're like, okay, this might make more sense. We need it to be a little smaller or whatever it
Yeah.
might be.
Yeah.
But that small pixel is perfect, because it's like we still kind of are keeping the traditional like frame thing, but then we also
Mhm.
have the regular picks, which it doesn't have that. So you kind of could get the best of both worlds. But
Yeah.
it's funny seeing those now and thinking like, what if like the big pics panoramics now didn't have that like part, that glass in the front, and it was the figure,
Yeah,
but it was bigger. I feel like that might have actually gone over a little bit better
yeah,
because it could have appeased the out of box, in box,
I
that whole
agree.
thing.
definitely.
But yeah, I'm glad that they have different
Mhm.
things coming out. We're having all these different products now. More IPs
Yeah.
are coming out, and I completely agree. Like having the niche one-off ones here and there, like maybe we're not going to get it, and it's not for
Mhm.
us, but it's going to be cool to that person who doesn't have
Yeah.
Get it.
anything, and then they're
Yep.
able to get it, and like that's just like an awesome thing to know that that exists. And Brian's a perfect example of like just giving back to the community, and
No,
he's a
yeah. I mean,
diehard collector from the beginning. So
we even saw that in the in this whole experience from then to now. It's how many times it without them really needing to, right? Because a lot of companies make mistakes, right? Whether it's something that they post, weren't supposed to post, whatever it
mhm,
is. Now a lot of different companies come out and say, "Hey, we got this wrong. This is what we're going to do for you."
mhm.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
No,
We
yeah,
said this is a price point. Moving forward, this is going to be a price point. We said
yeah.
you got it's for better for worse. It's seen that the want to appease us as collectors, I think goes a long way, and I think it shows at the forefront. At the end of the day, it's giving the consumer, which is us collectors, an
Mhm.
amazing product, but also a long lasting passion that if you trust us, you believe in us, we're a new company, and if you're willing to go along with this journey, you're going to see the different ways and the different ways that we can provide these things to you. And I was having a conversation with someone. I said, it's in a roundabout way. I think it was kind of good that they started off with the panoramics because I think if they would have started with these, I just think, and knowing the Funko community, I just think it would have been 5 million posts of these are Funko Pops, right?
Yeah,
You are right. You are
yeah.
totally
It
right.
it, it just it would have been, and we hear it, obviously we see it a little bit now, right, from those people. But I think kind of like the break in between that and then transitioning to this
Yeah.
makes it like visually, maybe from a consumer collector standpoint, kind of like, all right, now it's a little easier to accept rather
Mhm.
than it just being boom, this is in a box, this is you
Yeah,
can
copy
take it
paste.
out.
They just did, yeah.
It is funny though,
Exactly.
like how people do get so upset about that, and sometimes I just like to call them like uneducated Funko fans because I mean, let's be real, Brian's the one who created the pop, and you know what? Like, if he wants to just make a better version of that, more power to him. Because quite
Yep.
frankly, that's exactly what he's now done. And like, I don't want to go like too hard on this, but it's just like I look at Brian now and Mike, and like I look at Funko. I mean, I'm rooting for, Brian and Mike,
Yeah.
where like me and Mike started this podcast solely basically because we love Funko.
Mhm.
Not that we
Hmm.
don't like Funko anymore, but like it doesn't get me excited anymore where
Hmm.
like this stuff does.
Exactly.
It's just crazy because there are still so many of the Funko fans who like are just rejecting both Thrilljoy and Rokimoto, and I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. That.
Yeah.
Yeah. The I think I saw it at its peak when they revealed all the lanterns.
Oh, yeah.
Um, you really saw the
Love
people that are super diehards, which is
Yeah,
fine. I mean, listen,
yeah,
at the end
agreed.
of the day, it's not like I'll ever stop collecting Funko.
Same.
It's hard for me to give up my collection. I might downsize it here and there, but it's a huge part of my collection, and I'm never going to want to stop supporting them. In that case, like I bought an online box. I'm waiting for it to come in. I got one. Um,
Same.
but it goes to show that even though it's not at a place that I'd like it to be in, I still want it to be somewhere where I wish it was, type of thing. Because
Mhm.
competition builds better
Yeah.
brands. At the end of day, one, and then two, you can be honest with yourself and say, Thrilljoy stepping into the yard and saying, "Hey, this piece right here, we know exactly how many there are, and that it will never come out again. That goes a long way, right?
Agreed.
And the bigger, for example, Thrilljoy becomes, or even Rokimoto, having this crazy, like, behemoth of a brand behind them, with Miniso, being a part of that and that culture. If I'm a CEO of a company, if I'm a board member, it's like, oh snap! Like, all right, let's walk back maybe what we were doing in these ways, and let's start pivoting. Let's start changing. Because if you look at everything that happened, I never saw anything about this LE exclusive, like 40p, 100p's, 200p's. Yeah, they're more expensive type of thing. You can only get through fan rewards until
Nah.
a new company came into the scene and said, you know what? Everyone's been complaining about these things. We're appeasing all of them. What are you guys going to do about it? Are you guys going to stay the
Yeah.
course, or are you going to change things for the better? And we saw at least a little bit of change from Funko. Is it
Yes.
the exact thing that we wanted? Probably not, but it steps into that direction. And for me, as a collector, why not?
Well, it's funny though. One to go off of that, one thing you said earlier, which I love about Thrilljoy, is like you mentioned like their price points. And there
Mhm.
was obviously that huge debacle with the
Mhm.
first Freddy Krueger mega picks, but Brian came back on. Was like, we're going to do this for the fans. I mean, I also look at like the new picks and the Pixel; they are so appropriately priced. If even like they're,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, dare I say, good deal, especially knowing that the trash common mass produced pops are now going to be $15 a piece. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I understand how the world works, but when I first
Yeah.
started collecting, they were $8.99.
Yeah.
It's crazy that a common pop is going to be the same almost as a pixel, and some pops are even more money. And Brian
Yeah.
doesn't charge you for the limited edition of it all.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
really against that with Funko. I don't know what your
yeah.
opinion is on that.
No, yeah, it takes a lot of the collectability out of it. Um, Obviously, it takes away you just going into a random hot topic or box lunch and saying, I just like this for it being it. It doesn't have to be a limited piece. It doesn't have to be anything in
Mhm.
particular. I like this scene from Toy Story with Buzz Lightyear with in a
Yep.
dress type of thing, right? It's this random character that I like and I want to pick it up, and then you're not really looking at any thinking about it being any limited or any collectability, only just because you like it. You're not thinking about its worth or value. You're only thinking about its worth or value to you personally as a person. Um, but I think charging that, now taking that and then charging that price, I think it takes a lot out of that. You're at least for me, if I would be still the box lunch and hot topic goer solely to get a new Funko or a new line, I kind of have to think like, am I going to buy this whole line of 4 to 5, and now I'm paying what, 60, $75 to
Yeah.
complete a line? It's of things that are probably going to be on sale for the next
Mhm.
Black Friday deal.
Yep.
It's no, again, no shade. The
Yeah.
same thing with anything else, like sneakers, for example. If I know they're not going to sell out, I'll just wait for a deal, right? It's it's
Mhm.
it's with anything, right? Um, Charging a higher price point for something that isn't as collectible and just something for you like it does get expensive. So I really don't agree with it, especially from the massive amount of output that they have. You go into
Yeah.
Target, you have these evergreen pops that are
Mhm.
Star Wars.
There. Yes.
They're, whether that's because their agreement or whatever it
Yeah.
is, like Luke, Chewbacca, Darth Vader, they have to be on the shelves
Always there.
Yeah,
24/7,
regardless.
365, no matter what. And that's why we have Darth Vader like this in 500 different variations,
Yeah.
right? Because they have to be on the shelves the whole time, and that's completely understandable. But I think having that and then not having the kind of the line in the sand saying, all right, this is what's considered a grail in the community. There's no way in heck that we can reproduce this. I think that's kind of like where a lot, at least for myself,
Yeah.
that's where a lot of people kind of drew the lines. Like, okay, we can deal with the commons, we can deal with the increasing prices, but now you're eating into like the collector bases of like, I have
Yeah.
this grail that's now worth 50% because you wanted to remake this because you knew it was going to sell out and sell very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of messy stuff that we've covered a lot on different episodes, but a lot of it comes back to like it takes away from like what a pure collectible is and what a collector is, right? Like you the true meaning behind collecting is getting something you love, obviously, and then over time, if it becomes more valuable and it becomes more special to you, like that
Mhm.
naturally happens. Like you can't
Exactly.
manufacture that by making something more expensive, quote unquote, and then saying that that's going to be it. It takes away from that, and then
Mhm.
also like the surprise and the happiness of like we're in the same boat that me and Charlie were like, if something is very limited and we can't get it, we're cool with that. Like
Yeah,
it makes like it gives you a rush, like, oh, I wish I had that, but I didn't get
yeah,
to get it. Like
exactly.
that to us has always been a big thing. So like once they started doing their rewards thing, and that doesn't make any sense. We had a whole episode just going off on
No,
that,
it's
but like
I,
yeah,
I, I,
that just does not make sense to
I
me.
said it was drop NFT in reverse, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it just yeah,
Oh,
it's
it
wild.
drives me insane that they kept some of the names too. It drives me insane.
That
yeah,
was actually terrible.
exactly.
But
What was it a change? What was it a step in some type of direction? Yes, right. At the end of the day, they could have just said, "Cool guys, you're still gonna buy it."
That's so
Uh,
fair.
yeah, exactly. Of
at the
course.
end of the day, do I agree with how they did it? But at least it shows some type of kind of like flexibility when it
Hmm.
comes to that. So that, who knows if there's some flexibility there over time, maybe like a pivot like Thrilljoy. All right, that wasn't enough. Let's go a little bit farther. Let's go a little
Yeah.
bit farther. Let's go a little bit farther. So hopefully we get kind of like the experience that we're all craving at this point.
Hmm. But yeah, but I mean, speaking of Thrilljoy, obviously there is like a new wave that just came out. So
Mhm.
kind of wanted to get your thoughts on like what you think of some of these that they
Yeah.
just. I think just today actually a lot of stuff was coming out. What are your thoughts on kind of what they're doing here? Obviously, I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan, so I'm glad that they're going into the DC world. Like, it's
Yes.
crazy. It's just now like we're gonna see a lot of different IPs. I'm sure. I'm sure you know
Yeah.
maybe a little bit about that, anyways. But me and Charlie were worried that we didn't want them to go too crazy, too
Mhm.
hard, and it seems like they're kind of doing them in little batches, which is I think more digestible. But what do you think about it?
So yes and no in terms of so the exclusives that you saw today, they're retail exclusives and they're going to be sold at UCC.
Mm,
I haven't clarified whether these are going to be also available at the Thrilljoy booth. So that's to come. But from what we have seen, this isn't it. There's going to be more that I'm personally very, very excited for.
nice.
I'm personally very, very excited for the stuff in the future that we got sneak peeks of. That is, uh, I'm very excited. Like
Nice.
it is really, really good.
Will we
My
be
favorite person,
excited?
I really think so.
Okay, cool.
I really think so. But
Nice.
even for SECC, like the rest of the stuff that we saw,
Yeah.
it looks really great. It looks really like they put their time and attention to detail with these things, and I think they created a nice roster of things that they're going to be releasing, not just now, but down the pipeline.
Hmm.
I'm really excited for them. But from the ones that were posted, obviously my favorite is the Voltron chase. I think
Hmm.
it's amazing and epic. I'm not a huge Beavis and Butthead fan, so but even
Yeah.
the hero and the chases look really awesome. But I think at least from the discourse that I'm in, when they released the pictures, they were like, "I need 100 of these. I need a case of these. I need like." It was crazy to try to get the chase and the. I think it's
Yeah.
just. I think it's, I'm not sure what the other count for the other one is, but people were really excited about them. And obviously, Batman is always going to hit
Yeah.
in great ways. You having the Joker now, obviously, it's not from the same
Yeah.
universe, but speaking to those fans and getting to see that, I think is dope and awesome. Animaniacs, I think, is a huge retro kind of IP. that speaks to a large portion of the fan base. So I really like those. I think about 5 or 6 people are like, where's Dot? Where's the third one? I was like, I don't know. I truly
Yeah.
love it. Um,
But the
but
chases are good. They're doing a good, like, so far, like, a lot of
Yes.
these in this picks line, since
mhm,
it's been announced, basically, like, I liked what they're doing with the chases, because some of the panoramics, like the original picks, like, sometimes the chase was like, it was okay, it wasn't the best, but I feel like since they've been announcing these and we're
mhm,
seeing, like, if you listen to anybody
yeah,
who's out there, if you haven't listened to us, me and Charlie always preach, when it's a completely different figure as a chase, we're all
yeah,
about that. Like,
Yes.
that's amazing. And they're doing that with a lot of these.
yeah. So see that right there. There's a hero, He-Man. So he's got the sword, and the shield on
Mhm.
this, and then the Faker chase.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's a little bit different.
Now it's funny. I have a question. So when do you decide if you're keeping yours in the box? And I know you have some out of the box.
Yeah. So I took some out of the box to kind of see how I felt
Mm,
about it, but I think it's cool to have them out of the box.
yeah.
What I think I might do is have the blues out of the box for sure.
Okay.
And then Blues Buddies, which we'll be seeing very, very
You're
Mhm.
soon.
excited for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we saw pictures and mock-ups, and they look really good. I think it's gonna
Yeah.
look awesome side by side with them. Uh, Probably up there when my Toy Con Blue comes in, hopefully this week. I'll probably have it out of box too. So I think I'm gonna be like a blue out of box collector. But I
Now,
do
like
like the
we. Oh, sorry. Go.
I do like that you kind of get that kind of like same vibe with these though. You
Mhm.
kind of get like that out of box without there being like that plastic here, so you kind of get that same vibe
Exactly.
from these two.
How because me and Migs don't have any yet. Like, how easy are they to take in and put out? Because I know it's got like the plastic fastener things. Like, once you
Yeah,
take
like
it
they're
out, can
tied
you
in,
actually
right?
put it back in and it looks the
No, yeah,
same? Or
it's super easy. It's just those plastic ties in and just making
okay,
sure it's secure and like getting it close to the plastic shell, the molding.
okay,
Just
Mhm.
making it it's like super easy. I do love that they kept the cards.
I
Oh, yeah,
completely
yeah.
agree. I'm happy you bring that up.
I do. Obviously, it hits like my other
Yep,
passion of collecting Pokemon.
which we
Which,
wanted to talk to you about that too.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I could have a whole episode about Pokemon. Um, I've become very enthused with it. Um, and I've like it was kind of like a weird tradition where like people started coming to me for like advice on like what they should be doing and like how they should be doing if they want to start investing. And like me having all this knowledge is like, don't do that, do this, do this, do this. And then I think the best example was last week. I to my really great buddies, I said, "All right, guys, this is my play. I'm buying these two cards, these slabs. They're at 350. I think they're going to shoot up in price. I bought two. They decided not to listen, and then I look online. The cheapest available is at 475 now. I said,
Nice.
"Did you guys buy it?" They're like, "No." So it really is like the other collecting side, like them
Yeah.
keeping the card. I think was a huge, an awesome job, an awesome decision by them. So I'm really happy that they did.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
Yeah, we're big card collectors. So slowly, like, I transitioned
Mhm.
from like the big figure collectibles into mostly cards nowadays. So,
Okay.
like, I'll still get some stuff here and there, but it's been strictly cards for me now. Like, V Friends obviously
Yeah.
became huge for both of us. I'm still doing sports cards. I never
100%.
really have gotten into Pokemon specifically. I know we did want to bring that up because we
Yeah.
know so much about it. I mean, OG, like when I was young, when it first came
Yeah,
out, I had Pokemon cards, and then
Yeah.
I always tell this story. It was the craziest thing ever. My aunt basically was like super, super religious and told my mom that they were made by the devil and
Oh
made
no.
me throw them away. Yeah. And I had the originals, like all the whole base set. Like, it
Oh
was
gosh.
crazy in binders, me and
Oh
my
no.
brother. and we had to throw them away. But that was like late 90s, early 2000s, right? So then
Yeah.
now, like, my brother is still very, very deep. Like, he's between the cards and even
Mhm.
Pokemon Go. Like, he still plays Pokemon Go and goes to the
Oh, wow.
freaking things that
Okay.
they have on. Yeah. But cards wise, he's very, very into it. But I just couldn't, because like now there's so
It's
many
overwhelming.
and it gets way too overwhelming. And then I'm already kind of like, even sports cards can get overwhelming with the amount of lines that keep coming out with tops and chrome and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like me and Charlie try to dabble into it, and I think you maybe have done a little more, Charlie, than I have. But
Yeah.
I just couldn't really do much. We did that
I
one
can't get
box
them.
that we opened up on a video one time, and now they're like impossible to get. Because by, I don't know, me and you are pretty close to each other, so by me, like Targets and stuff, like you can't find anything. Our
Oh,
stuff is
dude,
like
if I
dry.
could sit down and tell you what I know about the areas by you,
It's
I'm gonna
insane.
tell you right now, don't ever waste your time.
Yeah, that's what I
I
feel like.
don't ever, like, I can tell you right now, I know it's these people know when they restock, they're told when they
Mm,
restock, and they just go and clean everything out.
yeah, that's what
But
it
listen,
feels like.
it's their hustle, and
Hmm.
I'm not here to hate on it. You know, people make their money how they want it. If this thing is what people want, then go ahead. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel because the tides are changing. Um,
Yeah.
you're at least seeing a little bit of product on the shelves. It's not getting completely cleared out, and a lot of people are transitioning into Magic right now.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and that's going to be the next kind of card boom that resellers are going to be going into. Right
Did you
now
get
they
into Final Fantasy?
I got in a few collectors bundles. I'm not really huge into Magic. I just got like
Mm,
2 or 3 to throw into my stash. I'm like, whatever, I'll forget about these forever. I don't know much about Magic. I've never really gotten into it. I don't plan to. I think Pokemon is as much as I'll go.
mhm.
Um, but I think the margins that people saw is getting a lot of people excited for the next sets, and I think a lot of attention is going to go that way.
Mhm.
And I'm personally not a huge fan of the next set that's coming out. I think it's going to be kind of like the right place, right time that I was talking about before. That you have a set that isn't going to be as hyped. You have attention going at least a little bit elsewhere, where it's going to open up the floodgates a little bit in terms of being able to find at least some type of product on the shelves.
Yeah.
So I think that's coming at least soonish.
Which is good. I mean, I look at it as a perspective. I want them for myself, but like, still, I know I talk about it on the podcast, but my son's like, I want Pokemon cards. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't get you Pokemon cards. Like, I'm not. He's only 5 years old. I'm not going to my local shop and paying like X amount of money for these for him to like
No,
just
no,
like
no.
throw them and open them and not
Yeah,
care.
no. It's at the end of the day, it's a cardboard gambling, right? It's
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
some people may just do it out of enjoyment as a collecting, but at the end of the day, unless you're going out and buying the card that you want, you're just taking a chance and taking a risk, and you
Yeah.
want that dopamine hit of pulling a crazy card out of it, which is perfectly fine and well. But when you're paying X amount of money over of
Just for
what
the
that
risk.
just for
Yeah.
the risk, it's very difficult. You know, it's we've traveled from a time where booster boxes that quote unquote MSRP is around one at that time was probably 150-ish, going towards 160. With that price jump to one in the 160s, people were like, "Whoa, what are you guys doing?" Because there was a point where stores were selling booster boxes for 100, $120 because they cannot move them. They cannot sell
Huh.
them. They could
It's
not get them out of
crazy.
the store enough. So they had, and they were still making some money on it, right? Because they're getting wholesale distribution.
Yeah.
Distribution was selling these to them for like probably 60, $70, right? They were still
Mhm.
making some type of profit on it, but they were letting these go for that cheap because nobody wanted them. So now, knowing where that was to what people are charging now, which is a little crazy. But people were willing to take that risk, right? It's like whatever,
Yeah.
120 $120 box. I'll just buy 36 packs and I'll just rip and have fun and I'll be done with it, right? But now when these boxes are 250, it's like
Yeah.
it's a
That's
huge
that's
it's
a
a
big
huge
difference.
It's
difference.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's even how like as everyone knows, me and Migs love V Friends. I mean,
Mhm.
Topps Chrome boxes for those right now, I mean, they're going for $500-$600
$500, yeah.
when they
Dude,
start
it's
off at 100. It's
100
crazy.
the first time they dropped.
dude,
MSRP.
I went to you probably know Bodega Cards
Yeah.
here. Thanks. So I
Yeah.
went to that event and Gary Vee was there. I had gone because I knew he was going. I brought the Funko Pop for him to sign again. I had one before. I was able to get another one to have him sign and stuff. And I just wanted to support him because it's
Hmm.
Gary Vee. He's a legend
Hmm.
at this point. Um, he was like, if you guys can get a sealed case of this stuff, get it. This is going to be like base set Pokemon. I was like, dude, if only I could find one.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it was funny because me and Charlie, he's been saying this forever, and we were like, yeah, okay, maybe it's gonna get big, whatever. But like, it's blowing
It's
up
it it
fast.
it
And the
like
people that have
wildfire.
the money are going after it, so that's
Crazy.
keeping it up there. Like, it's not like,
Yeah, yeah,
they're
and
out
right
there.
now,
The breakers
yeah,
have now taken over
yeah. I
that
was about to
world.
say the breakers are really taking over in that space because there's like obviously it's a new hot thing, but it's like
Hmm.
it's the same thing that we're talking about Pokemon. Obviously this product is a lot more limited than
Yeah,
a,
yeah.
a super release of let's say the Team Rocket stuff that Dust and Rivals that came out, but that's that's always been like throughout this time period where things are so expensive. It's like these breakers are just ripping everything, and like the older people that have been in this hobby for a while is like, if you guys can keep sealed product, keep it sealed because the amount of
Yeah.
stuff that's being broken and ripped right now is at an alarming, extraordinary rate. Yes, Pokemon's um, time period where they print is much longer now
Yeah, yeah.
um, for things, but the amount of just ripping that's happening, if you guys can keep sealed products, I keep it. And I was like, sold. All right, it's gonna keep stuff.
For real.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, it's
you
just
should be
hard to get.
telling Chris and Brian that they need to make a V Friends picks because they want the thing to sell out immediately.
Ooh,
That would be
that'd be,
probably their first quickest sellout.
Yeah, man.
yeah.
I think that I think it would be a hit because from what I had heard, and obviously these are all rumors, but I think what Funko wanted to do was make the jack o' lantern like a common or something, or they wanted
Hmm.
to make different characters and make it
Multiple
like the
ones, like,
commons and
yeah.
stuff. And he was like, right, because he's really all about the
Yes,
Hmm.
collectability, exclusivity. It's this isn't going to be pumped into the ground. It tarnishes his brand. It's
Hmm.
what he's worked hard to do, and having these supporters that know if I'm going to be buying this right here, right now, I want to know I'm buying this right here, right now. And
Hmm.
if it comes out in a different variant of version or form, sure, but like this exact one, like I want to know that's it. And that's the driving force with the NFT world, like knowing this is
100%.
your exact one. Like no one's gonna copy this code and say this is yours unless you give it to somebody else or you sell it,
Hmm.
trade it, whatever it is. That's kind of the aspect to it, and it dilutes it. It dilutes it,
Yeah.
especially in the trading card space or especially in collectible space. It dilutes it a lot when you're a big proponent of in wanting to invest in these things or collecting these things because you're exclusive or what may have you. It turns people away.
Totally.
Hmm. Yeah. And we mentioned this quickly, but what's your? I mean, I'm sure you like it, but like, what's your take on Rokimoto? I know you went to the New York,
Hmm.
the event they did at Miniso and everything, but
Yeah.
like, we are obviously huge fans of it. We love it. We love what Mike's doing. I mean, Mike's amazing. So, like, what's kind of your take on where they're going with that?
I do I do like it. I like that it's a different space, it's a different audience, it's speaking to
Hmm.
different people. I don't think this is meant to be like a collectible in the sense of what we knew Funko or what we looking at Thrilljoy in that lens. I think this is more like have fun doing this, open these up, get the set or one that you like type of thing, and just collect them as you go type of thing. If your
Yeah.
completion is complete all of them, if you happen to get a chase out of it, whatever it may be, um, I think just the brand that's behind it, um, and the sort of like figures and how they look and how they are and how they present. I don't think this is meant to be like I'm going to go out and get every one of them.
Mhm.
It's not something that I would go out of my way for collecting. Like if Mike wasn't attached to this, I'd be like, cool, right?
Same.
Yeah.
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 Like I'll call it what it is. Like if Mike and Dave weren't attached to it, I'd be like, yeah, that's another thing that I'll probably pass by and never walk
Yeah,
into
you'll see it
Miniso.
and yeah.
Until Rokimoto, I don't think I walked into Miniso probably more than
Same.
once, and that was by mistake.
Same.
Because it doesn't speak to me as a collector. It does that stuff doesn't speak to me at all. Now Rokimoto, it does speak to me because obviously of what it represents and who it's coming from. That means a lot to me, so I'll always support that like forever, just because of who they are. So if there is something that I do like, I am a fan of, I'll definitely go out and get. Um, I did see the Godzilla ones is probably one that I would go out of my way
Mhm.
for. I was a little worried about seeing a Godzilla with a ramen cup.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I don't think they have one, right? I don't
It
think they
doesn't
that's
look
No,
like they
no.
do.
It
yeah,
doesn't
No.
look
but
like
Yeah.
at least it's not official yet, but based
yeah.
off of those,
They
none of
got the
them have it
tongues.
yet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
there's
so
the tongue, yeah.
I think those are cool. I think that's something that would add to my collection. Get like a full case of and have fun and do that
Yeah.
stuff. But I think it's supposed to be, it's speaking to a different side of and I think I've been more exposed to it, being around this pop mart craze longer than a lot of most folks in terms of I mean, I haven't been around forever with it, right? But in terms of like knowing what Pop Mart was and knowing what these
Mhm.
Labubus were a time where I can walk in and buy some.
Yeah, you definitely told me about those
Yeah,
before
yeah.
anyone cared.
Yeah, I told my wife when I had first learned about them, I told my wife like, "Do you like this?" She's like, "No, it's ugly." I said, "Are you sure?" Listen, I I kind of know where things are going. I can like touch the pulse on these things. I think this is going to be really hard to get later. Do you not want to say, no, it's ugly? I said, all right. Fast forward, she's like, I really want these. I said,
Of
okay.
course.
So I said, so this is before they changed everything online. So I said, let me just go to American Dream. Because back then there wasn't that much, at least information in terms of like when they
Yeah.
restocked, when you were allowed to go and stuff. So I said, let me just go. So I went. They actually had restocked that day, and I had no idea.
Wow.
I think it was maybe a Thursday. I think it was a Friday because I was working from home. So I went. I bought a full case, and then they had like an open box with like 5 of them left that you would just buy a single of. I said, "Let me get that one." I opened that one up. That happens to be the secret, and
Oh, wow.
she was there when I pulled Umbreon out of Prismatic,
Wow.
Wow.
and the same reaction that I had, she had. Like
Yeah.
the utter like out of body experience, my soul, my like I'm looking at myself like hovering type of thing when I pulled that Umbreon, like versus her like pulling this secret. I was like, all right. And seeing the culture and the fervent like craze that goes towards these products, these blind box products, these Asian influenced products,
Mhm.
I was like, this isn't for me. Labubus aren't for me. It's totally okay. It's totally fine. There's a specific consumer base for it, but they love it. And
Mhm.
as long as you're talking to them and you're able to do things that maybe encompasses a wider scope of everyone, awesome. So I'm excited to see really cool stuff from them. I'm excited to continue to support them. I'm excited to see them grow and become awesome and see where they not so much pivot but what they add on to like the arsenal
Yeah.
of things that they do, different products,
Yeah.
different lines. I like knowing Mike as the type of person it is. I can't think this is it, right? Like
Agreed.
Rokimoto, that's it. Like, this is what we're gonna do. Having these amazing people on board, having AJ, having Fluffy, having
Hmm.
these awesome voice characters, having this whole world, I can't think that this is just gonna be it. Maybe the other thing that they do is it, or maybe a different IP that they do within Rokimoto might be it for me. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where they go.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what it is. Having a proto, signed proto, definitely,
Yeah. It's
de-
exciting for you. That's
def-
cool.
definitely is awesome. But I'm definitely excited to see what I think they're gonna be anime con.
Yeah, they
The
are.
Yeah.
weekly stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah. They
right?
have a lot of
Because
stuff they announced for that
it's
too.
kind of
Mhm.
crazy. I mean, they announced that they're coming out obviously with more apparel. They have like
Yep.
sweatshirts, t-shirts, which they showed that which I think this is genius. They made little bag keychains to put the figures
Oh,
in, so
Hmm.
it kind of is going
it's cool.
for that, you know, keychain
Yeah,
craze.
yeah.
They
It's
had
I
even
can't.
like plushy
Yeah.
keychains. Like they're crushing it.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of purses where a Labu hang out from it. So
Yeah. I
No,
know. So they're trying to
no,
get
it's
it.
crazy. I mean, it's just funny you bring it up about your wife. Like, I mean, my wife has always supported my collecting habits, but
yeah,
I know she does it for me. Like, once she's on Pop Mart, like trying to get this stuff. Like, it's just kind of crazy. It's exciting too to see people have come into a collecting world that would never be part of it.
yeah,
Like, that's the one thing I love about the Labubu craze and just Pop Mart in general.
yeah. So I've gotten very blessed and lucky to have a bunch coming in, and then I said, all right, well, I know you only want the secret out of this, and then what we're gonna. She's like, I'm gonna sell them to my book club. I said, all right. Yeah, she had gone to an event, so like apparently it's some really exclusive like book club that you had to like apply for and like reference for, and there's a whole vetting process. They ask you like
Wow.
you have to read a certain amount of books in a year. You have to like be committed to reading like all these things. You have to be put on a wait list. I was like,
Wow.
wow, this is very involved. So she had gotten in, she went to like the first two events. On the third event, she has like her Labu like her Labubu like hanging from the side. They're like, oh my god, we can never get one. It's like, yeah, my husband actually can get them. They're like, let us know. I was like, it's exactly what you're saying. It's like people like being super like passionate about this stuff is really cool to see.
Yeah. No, it is. And I think one of the big things too, and it kind of ties into a lot of the stuff that I started collecting was the blind box and the mystery aspect is really
Yeah.
what excites me. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if you did, but like I was a massive Funko soda collector. Like I have maybe like hundreds, almost 1,000 sodas like in
Really?
a
Wow.
storage bin.
Okay.
Yeah. Like insane. And it was because of the whole thrill of find the chase. Like I would always buy two of each. I never
Yeah.
would get cases. I was always just two of each. If I got one of each of them, that was it. If I
Mhm.
got two comments, I just kept it moving. I went to another
Yeah.
character type of thing. But like this, that like style, that's also why I like this new pick style
Mhm.
where it's like, you're ripping it open. It's like, you don't know if
Yeah.
it's gonna be a chase or not. Like that's exciting to me. But like blind boxes, now unfortunately my daughter, who's only 5, and she's
Yeah.
now in love with Pop Mart and Miniso because she knows
Yeah.
that they have Disney products and they have like the Labubu stuff and like just the mystery aspect is fun. But with Rocky Moto, I kind of get that same kind of gist. Like it's like you
Mhm.
said, it's not like you're collecting something that's going to have crazy value. Like
Yeah.
it's just a fun product.
Yeah.
If you like a
Exactly.
specific character, you can rip it open, see if you could pull like the chase version of theirs.
Mhm.
But I do like that the new one that they announced for the Snoopy for the Peanuts, it's going to be like kind of more of like a legit blind bag where it's only one and you
Mhm.
got different like variants that you can get, and it's like 9
Oh,
different ones with
that's
more
cool.
rarities.
That's
So
cool.
that's kind of like a cool thing, set for just having one with a one-on-one type of
Agreed.
thing. So
Yeah.
like I like that they're opening it up to that. So now
Mhm.
maybe that's what we'll see when the IPs ones are coming
Mhm.
out. That's kind of what it seems like. And yeah, I
Yeah, I
see
did
him.
see
I mean,
was it like the was it Godzilla or the Snoopy one that was translucent?
the
Yeah,
Snoopy
there's
one.
2 Snoopy
Yeah,
ones.
There's
that
2
was
Snoopy that translucent, and
those
they're
are
like
really
one of
cool.
100 and something. So like
Yeah.
they're obviously gonna be the more rare ones. So like that part is cool. And I mean, Mike, he's been in the business long enough that he clearly has connections with
Yeah.
plenty of licensors around there that
Yeah.
he's gonna get more IPs and more stuff's gonna get attached
Yeah.
to his stuff. So like in that aspect, it's kind of cool because then
Mhm.
like you said, you have that Asian influence side, and then you have
Yeah.
regular collectors maybe and stuff like that. So yeah, and that part of it I like it. And I support them and I support their vision, and like Mike is so great and what they're doing. Their team is great. So like it's just hard to not support them, even if you're not gonna buy it. Like
Yeah.
you're still like, okay, this is cool, and I still support it
Yeah.
regardless. But
I didn't
And
even
as
think
the,
about
corny
it
as
like
it
that.
is, they're just fun.
Yeah.
yeah,
Like
it's fun maker.
it's so true. And I mean, I've said this on the podcast before, but like
Yeah.
that they have just excited me the most, even though, Thrilljoy is a really close second for me. But even too, like my son, who, has followed me and my collecting habits, he is now like, that's what he wants to go get, which I find interesting. Like I
That's so
want a new
cool.
Rokimoto. I want a new Rokimoto. And I'm like,
That's so cool.
dude, it's working.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so cool. Yeah. That's an awesome point because I didn't even think about like how it equates to like Funko sodas.
yeah.
Like I
That
did
was like
I
the
like
the
I
one thing that really got
yeah.
me.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge Funko, so I would like pick up random ones here and there. Be awesome. Like I would go for like maybe two or three. I went out and like got in the chase for. I'm a huge Fantasia fan, Sorcerer Mickey, so I got
Yeah.
the chase of Sorcerer Mickey and the Churnbog. But you're completely right. It's like the excitement of like what the heck are you gonna get? So
hmm
yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely cool. So last thing we wanted to kind of cover was we'll go back to Funko, specifically the
sure.
Fun Days. Obviously, that just happened this weekend.
Yeah,
They had their event in Hollywood, Funko Hollywood this time, 3 days, Friday,
yeah,
Saturday, Sunday. Saw a lot of people there. We obviously saw a
yeah.
lot of stuff, and we got a lot of new Freddies and Frannies, which we
Mhm.
were worried that we weren't going to get Frannies. We were like, we need to have Frannies, but
Yeah.
early on we didn't get any leaks of it, and we did. We got some Freddies, we got some Frannies. Um, it started off kind of bad
Mhm.
because the first leak
Yeah.
was the lanterns, which we'll
Yeah.
just leave it at that. And we knew it was like,
Yeah.
wow, this is not good.
Mhm.
And then we started kind of getting some more stuff that, like, I still will say I'm not like, oh my god, this was amazing top to bottom. But
Mhm.
there's some stuff in there that was definitely exciting. It's really cool. And then we got some leaks of the stuff that's coming to the home box, but
Yeah.
maybe there's more because obviously they're not really all sent out yet. But kind of, what are your thoughts on some of the stuff that we've seen out there? Any of the favorites? Obviously, there's some that are
Yeah.
like limited 50, I think, is the lowest that we're seeing in LE right now. But
Yeah.
there's a mix of stuff.
No, it's obviously seeing Franny in this shape or form is something that everyone's been kind of like 1 + 1 =, right? It's
yeah,
it's
yeah, it should have been.
it's like right there. You can do so much for it. I was really hoping for Franny as Ahsoka. That I think that would have
Yes.
just completely sent everything to the moon. And not saying that the stuff that they released wasn't great, but I think that would have just been, oh snap, all right, she's arrived type of thing. Right? Because I
hmm
think she hasn't been given outside of the NFTs, she hasn't really been given the proper
No.
spotlight in terms of what you can do, especially at an event like this. Um, it was surprising to see that the boxes had July 25th on them. The outer boxes,
I didn't
which
even notice that.
yeah, so it said July 20, do not open before July 25th, 2025. So that probably meant that this was supposed to be for SDCC.
SEC, yeah. Which is kind of what we assumed from the beginning.
Which I want to talk about all that too a little bit, but
No, for sure. It's and which kind of like, oh, I mean, I wish it was because I would have been able to attend the
Yeah,
event and be part of, seeing being my first one was last year and having Mike there, seeing what it becomes and evolves to this
yeah,
year, and obviously, you know, having fun experience. I think experience that. If you are or ever been a fan of Funko, I think it's experience that is everyone should go to at least once. Try to go to at least once. Try to do it, or whether maybe down the line if we ever bring back an NYCC one, I think
yeah.
if they're able to do it at a scale that is adequate, I think would be an awesome experience to do as well. Uh, First seeing the first leaks, I was like, no, what are they doing? Just because like you said, Biggs, it's 3 days. You have time
Yeah,
slots. You have a bunch of time slots. You have a bunch of days. You have a bunch of people, and you're seeing all these piece counts, and you're doing the math in your head. You're like, oh no, what are they doing? Is this going to be like
yeah,
it's going to be like a mascot situation where just every
yeah,
box
yeah.
is going to get a lantern, and then I was just like, no, this isn't the way to do it. This is like you're trying to have as many people as you can go to these things. You're having it a month before SDCC, which automatically cuts out a bunch of people that can't either afford, have the time to,
Mhm.
or have the energy to go to out out to the West Coast in such a short amount of time. You're having what's at that time, because we don't, at least I don't know the final numbers at the time. It looks like it's just way more people than Fun Days last year was. So it's like it's going to be more boxes and then more
Yeah.
lanterns and then more this. Like, what does that mean for everything else? So that right there, I was like, oh, this isn't good. But I do like some of the stuff that they did. I wasn't really a fan of them doing Two-Face and non-black light and saying that this is one. As I'm staring at my Two-Face here,
Yeah.
um, I
Hate when
did
they redo.
I did see today that I thought I did see a Leonardo, right? Freddy's Leo,
Yep, which
and
Yes.
was
then
cool.
as a 3,000 piece. But then I also saw a picture there's a 500 piece for the online boxes. There's two variants, a 3,000 and 500 piece.
Oh,
I think the 500 piece has like a darker, like outer shell in the front, so which is cool. It's a little bit
nice.
different. I just it's it
We
spoke
can be
too
real on this
much.
podcast.
Yeah, it spoke too much to the grievances that I personally had before. It's
Yeah.
mass producing, it's doing too much of one thing, it's diluting. I think the lanterns, if you had 3, 4 to 5, I think they would have been phenomenal in a hit. I think it would have been awesome. I also think that the in-person boxes probably should have another pop in it, especially if you're having this event a month before SECC. I think you should award and reward people that are making that trip out there to get an additional something in that product.
Hmm.
I wish that's something that I would have seen, could have seen. Um, but I think that kind of like them deciding to do that release right before kind of like skewed my kind of lens on all the reveals. It's like, okay, that was cool. Okay, that was cool. Nothing real.
I feel the same way.
I think my only one and favorite that I would probably maybe go out of my way for is the Dummy Glow, the 500 piece. I think that was an extraordinary job. I think they could have been a little bit more creative in terms of having these limited piece counts. Like what was it? It was a Freddy 125 piece. Was it like Captain or something?
Oh,
Freddy
like
is
one of the
Captain.
Captain Freddy or
Oh
the.
yeah, they had a Captain Freddy and then they did the Franny that way too, and Proto.
So they have one that's like 125 pieces or something, and it's like a glow, like his crown, and I think the rope that he's hanging from or something like that. I was like, it's cool, but it's like you're making this the 125. I feel like the 125 is special. I think the 125 should
Yeah.
be like something that's like, wow, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
I think they could have done a little bit better in terms of like choosing what is what. I think the Michael Myers is a cool one. I'm not really a huge fan of the blacklight version.
Yeah. I
Um,
said the
I
same thing.
I think that would have been an awesome maybe online one, and they could have done something really cool with the Mike Myers one. It nothing really jumped out at me as maybe one or two of the Frannies and that Freddy that I mentioned that made me say, "Damn, I have FOMO for not going." Um, I think outside of that, it wasn't really like, oh my gosh. I wish they could have. I'm part of like different like discords and stuff, and they're like, oh, like what letter is the best, this and that. Like, I feel like that kind of takes away kind of the gravitas to it, like kind of like
Yeah.
the
I agree.
charm, the whole experience. It's like when you go and go in with all this information, kind of dilutes things. I wish that wasn't part of it. Um, I did hear that they use, I think, like a third party company to throw like the whole event. So
Oh, interesting.
I'm
Okay.
not I'm not too sure to
Which
what
makes
it,
sense to me.
I'm not too sure to what extent, whether it be, I heard there was a lot of like things that occurred with like the protos and like people double dipping and getting more that they were supposed to and all that stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they on the first day they decided to like do like a black Sharpie over whatever notch they were supposed to indicate that you had gotten something, and the people were just rubbing it off and getting another one. And then I think the
So
next day
That's
they
crazy.
either the next day or like later on in the day they caught on. They started like hole punching them to make sure that
Hmm.
people weren't getting like going in and getting more. Um, I mean, there's always going to be people that try to
Yeah.
get more out of it and stuff, but it's also, you know, a company has to kind of like look for those things and kind of foresee like the potential issue with these type of things, and maybe using a third party company. I don't know, but it wasn't
yeah,
super like, oh my gosh. I think last year's lineup, it could have been a little bit better, but at least there were some that we were like, okay, like good job with that, good job with
Hmm.
that, really, really good job with that. And these, there was just so much far in between that I'm like, all right, that was a really good one, or that was a really good one. I know a bunch of people have told me it's like, all right, so the online boxes got the better ones then. Like, why'd I even come out here? I was like,
That's funny.
I don't know,
yeah.
because
I mean,
I don't think the in show boxes got like a TMNT Freddy, or I haven't
No,
seen
I
any.
didn't see
that
anyone with
there
it.
was like a Dracula that was only online. The
Mhm.
You're
Two
completely
Face
right.
was
It looks like it's
online.
better, which is that's just such a new Funko thing to do.
Mhm.
That's what I'm gonna now call the company, New Funko,
You can
because it just. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, we're basically, we joke we're like the same person at times.
yeah,
It's just kind of like, and I'm happy I like that is my biggest like regret is I never got to go to what I will now also call a real fun days.
Yeah.
I'm at least happy Funko put in the experience to differentiate a little bit
yeah,
because
yeah,
they are self-aware at
yeah.
least a bit, because I mean, I'll be as polite as I can, but I had no FOMO of not being here at all. It's the first time I've ever felt that way about a Funko event in my life. It just looked like a who's who of the influencer crowds being there.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel like an actual community event. It's a
Mhm.
bummer that we're not going to get to go to Thrilljoy. Like me and Migs aren't going to San Diego Comic-Con, but I can't wait to hear it from you. Like I have FOMO of not getting to go to Thrilljoy's or Rokimoto's event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of funny that Funko didn't want to be embarrassed. I'm call a spade, and that's obviously why they moved this up, which I think is so lame though. At the same time, that they didn't want to go up against the two kings, so they did this event. I'm still like thinking about it. It's so lame. Like I
Yeah,
hate to say it, but
I would love to know the reason why, because it's kind of like, all right, the decision wasn't ever that it was going to be on a different day, right? It was clearly a pivot, right? It
Hmm.
was printed on the box outside of those cardboard boxes that say letter L, letter C, letter whatever. It says do not open until this date. I would love to see like the decision making, right? It's was it, you know, a fear to compete, or was it like maybe it's something as mismanagement, right? Of like not booking a space in time. You
Yeah.
know, who's to say? Who's to know?
yeah.
Or not feeling comfortable with being able to host an event that large without your figurehead for the first time. That could be something too, because you know there's a lot of not just time and energy, but it takes a specific type of person to, you know, be gravitating to the point where you can captivate a whole crowd of 1,000, 2,000 people
Hmm.
for 2.5 hours for 1 or 2 days. It takes a special person to do those things, and Mike is one of those special people that can do that, right? It's, it, I think I would love to know why. Um, I I would hope it's not like, oh, I'm scared of these two, so I'm not going to do it. Right? As a collector, as
Same.
wanting
Yeah.
the most out of it, it's hard not to be on your list of reasons as why. But I always try to look at everything from like different aspects and points. You know, it's different leadership, it's different attentions, it's different allocations of funds, or it's different planning, and could be very simple as, you know, we didn't book a space and we didn't want to force
And
the issue.
which that's another thing, and it's a good point you bring up about the space. I mean, not only let's say they didn't have time to book it or they made a mistake, but they just had it at their facility, which cost them absolutely no money, which could have
Yeah.
been another reason that they did that,
No,
Yeah.
definitely.
which
Yeah,
I've never really thought about.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it
definitely. I
took up
can't.
like a parking lot or something too across the street,
Yeah, I
which
can't
is kind of
imagine
odd.
how expensive these events are. I mean, what Carissa's told us and me, what Thrilljoy has in store for this Black Party, I'm just like, wow. Like this is. I mean, they're going all out. Obviously, it's the first time at CCC. They want to come in and really show thrill seekers like an amazing time, or just collective
Mhm.
community in general. You don't have to be a thrill seeker. It's like if you just want to be in a collective community space and just having fun and getting to know different people and having fun while you're doing it, playing games and all that stuff. The stuff that I'm hearing, I was like, wow, this has to be monstrously expensive. And
Yeah.
on top of the space, on top of the logistics, on top of everything else. So I can't imagine that it doesn't come into the equation of like where they should do it or why they should do it. And I think for better for worse, for better for worse, Funko has earned the right for being a company for this long, having a customer and fanatic base for this large and long. That you kind of you're allowed to do that, and people are going to
Yeah.
come to you. You
Mhm.
can have this and announce this 2 months before, and a month before the biggest convention of the year, and say we're going to have this here at this day, and whether you're here or not, you're here or not, and people were there. So
Yeah, they still
So
are.
true.
They're still gonna sell. We
exactly,
always say stuff too. Like even when we don't like certain things, whatever, like people are still buying the stuff. Like at the end of
exactly.
the day, they're still gonna keep doing it. They're gonna pump it out. But like this this line, like I'm kind of in the same boat as you guys. I didn't really have the FOMO. There was only one pop. So I'm on the
Okay,
other hand side.
which
I'm
one?
a
Which one?
diehard horror fan. So like
Okay.
Michael Myers is and Halloween is one of my favorite movies of all time. So
Hmm.
just seeing that was like, okay, that's sick. But
Yeah.
I hate the blacklight one. And the fact
Yeah.
that it's going for like $2,000 and stuff on auctions, I have no idea why. It makes zero sense to me. Because even when the regular blacklight version came out, because they did come out with a
Hmm.
regular blacklight version, because we all know these bodies all exist. They're just putting
Yeah.
Freddy and Fanny's heads on them. But
Let's go,
like
Iron
that
Man.
one
Come
was
on.
just. So like even when that came out, I was like, this looks ridiculous. But
Yeah.
like that regular one, even though it's a 3,000 piece, like whatever, like that one was probably my favorite one. And I do agree with you. Having Franny was exciting to see. Like a Pink
Hmm.
Ranger was cool because it's
Yeah.
all right. That's pretty
That's my
iconic.
favorite of the
Yeah,
show,
that's
Yeah.
and
weirdly.
then Wonder Woman obviously is an iconic one. So like those made sense. Getting into the Star Wars realm, like you were saying, Ahsoka, that would have been just out of the world if they did something like that. But the only other thing I will say, and I hinted towards before, being a big soda fan, the sodas were pretty cool. So I
Yeah.
liked like what they did with those. They obviously kind of went after like what they already have in the NFT world,
Yeah.
like with that Funame, but they made
Hmm.
sodas of them. So it makes you kind of think like, was that already kind of done for that? Like a lot of this stuff did kind of seem like it was just extra stuff or whatever it
Yes.
was. It just wasn't put together like what we're so used to an event for fun days, quote unquote,
Yeah.
like to do in the past. And then the at home ones, like there's a couple good ones, but even that's like the Iron Man one obviously is sweet, but like you got a bunch
Hmm.
of the lantern ones. So like there's gonna be people that are gonna open a box and they're gonna get 3 lanterns probably. Like and
No,
like
yeah.
that's a chance.
One of my
So,
friends got one out there. He only had one slot, and one of my buddies here that wasn't able to go. It's like he was like, just buy a slot and I'll go. I'll go for
yeah.
you. Whatever. He got his box, and the best one was a white lantern, 500 pieces in that box. And I said, "Ooh."
Yeah, it's
He's
rough.
like, I'm gonna lose money on this. This isn't fun. And he was like making fun of it. He wasn't doing it for the money, sort of. But it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
No, but yeah, you still
this is
want to
as
get
good as it gets.
what's worth, right? Yeah, yeah, like what you pay
Exactly,
or whatever.
exactly. Like some type of like feeling of like, oh, like all right, this was cool. Even if I didn't get like the 50 piece or the 150 or the 250, or like
Yeah,
this was cool. And I
yeah,
think the lantern just looked like it was supposed to be a part of something else, and they rushed
yeah.
this. Like I don't know if like their contract IP was ending soon. They're like, no, like
We gotta get
let's
about.
exactly before this ends, and it kind of left you eh, what could have been, or it could have been so much more. Which
Yeah.
Original. I really like the Avatar one, the Franny.
That
Yeah,
one is cool.
the Frannies were over. There wasn't many. We only got like 3 or
No,
4, but they were good. At least like the majority of them, you're like, all right, that's a good
I
one.
guess it's hard to like we've been wanting Franny's so bad. It's
Yeah,
hard to mess that up
yeah,
already.
yeah,
it's true.
Is what they had
It's
going for
true.
them.
We've seen so many
But it's
Freddies
just
at this point.
yeah. Well, but though it's still like I mean now I guess this was 3 years ago. The Camp Fundays, I feel like that was peak of like they had so I'll never forget. We were texting like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god,
there
this
was
list, like
every drop
everyone on
was
that
yeah,
list was like sick," and it hasn't been that way ever since.
no,
Mhm.
That was, I think, Brian and Mike's last like
Yeah,
we
like
love
really
Funko.
together. Like yeah,
mhm.
Yeah,
No, yeah, and you saw it by the lineup from the pops. It was
yeah,
Mhm. Oh yeah,
diverse.
yeah,
They were
yeah.
strong. They were. It was highly sought after. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they were choosing. Um, there, for me, there had to be a reason why we saw so many Star Wars. Like you said on that last one, because probably the last one that they're together type of situation.
yeah.
One
Mhm.
go off a bang, and they did a great job with them. And they have so much canvas that they can work with, but it's I don't know if like they just choose not to or they're just I don't know. I
Yeah,
really don't know because it's just all there. It's like they have the paint, they have the canvas, they have the water,
I
they
think
have
it's just the
everything.
passion. And I'm weird. I mean, people have made fun of me on the podcast. Like, I really romanticize both Brian and Mike. Like, I just do. And it sucks that they're not there anymore. But yeah, like we said, we got new cool companies out of it.
Yeah,
It's so obvious. Cause even me and Mig's joke, there was a point where we were like, what is going on with Brian and Mike? Like, and now to
yeah. Towards
see
the
them
end of
happy
their
again,
Funko,
it's
like
weird.
it was getting rough for them.
yeah,
But you can tell it's just probably just
It's
they were burnt
Funko in a
out.
nutshell.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, they.
It would make a great movie.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
mean they
Yeah.
didn't make these companies because I mean I would assume just because the way they act and the way they are and their what they hold most important is like they didn't make these companies because like all right let's make millions of dollars and let's
Yeah,
be super
exactly.
rich and we're gonna rule the
Yeah.
world and be number one
No.
collectors and collectible producers. Like the passion was I really want to make something cool and I think I know what other collectors would think are really cool and let's build this community and let's see where this goes type of thing.
Exactly.
And I think that soul isn't apparent, especially in an event like this,
Yep.
where it's just a bunch of different IPs that don't make sense. There isn't a theme.
The
Um,
theme was always so fun. That yeah.
I think they really lost a lot out of it being unthemed. Some people love the boxes. I personally don't. I think it could have been a lot better. Um, I think the ones from last year look a little better than the ones from this year. Not having a theme, not having a mascot, not having that type of
Yeah.
uh,
The mascot
Well,
thing was always a cool thing.
it
yeah,
was. But one thing we haven't talked about, which I'm curious of both of your opinion, like what did you think of that like grail
Oh
like
yeah.
idol thing they
The like
made?
temple looking
I'm so
thing from Indian. I guess they were trying to go with like an Indiana Jones type of
Yeah, but they couldn't call any of them
vibe.
Indiana Jones.
But the yeah, no. Well, they had the guy with painted beard who was supposed
Yeah.
to look like
yeah,
Indiana Jones. But they yeah, they had multiple versions. They had one that was like a 70 piece order, then they had the one of one that one guy got or something. And I mean, I don't know. I don't want to like hate on and be like, well, at least they didn't do it. Like they're trying something, you know, I did something.
yeah,
Is it seem forced and like not genuine? Yeah, a bit, but it's like it's just kind of where they're at right now. I just feel like I don't know if it's management or people or whoever's running. It's in a weird funk. That's a funny word to put it with them, but it's in a weird. It's just like a
Funk.
weird space that they're in right now.
yeah,
That yeah, we could just take the O away and it's just gonna be funk now. And it's just I guess because we're seeing so much more exciting and fresh things with these other
hmm
companies that are coming out now that they just seem a little more stale and just kind of like they've been around for so long that they're just like on
yeah,
autopilot and they're just doing what they're doing and like they do put out stuff that sometimes we're like oh that's sick or that's
yeah,
amazing. It's just like it's just kind of like here and there now
yeah,
and that's what's I guess just the way it's gonna be and at least I mean, it's this transition of leadership and everything has been long enough. I think at this point you're going to know what
Agreed.
they're doing as a company, and it seems like we
Yeah,
kind of know what they're doing now.
yeah. I'm not. I said I'm gonna go pick up a Freddy Grail from Michaels, and no, I'm not. I'm not. I I like the at least thought and creativity that went into it, comparing it to the lack of creativity that we saw. I guess this past year, right? I
Yeah,
do like at least the attempt and the effort. It's different. It at least goes with the theme that they were trying to build out, right?
Agreed.
I'm not a huge fan of them. If I got one, I'd be like, cool. Like I probably
yeah,
sell it before I left.
yeah,
And that's just me. Like, would have been freaking awesome if this thing was a one piece on that cardboard that said one of one, and it was a actual Freddy, even if it looked the same type of thing. That would have been
yeah,
freaking fantastic.
yeah.
My fear now is that we're kind of getting that kind of lens that whatever Funko does, no matter what they do, we're always going to be like, with like kind of
Yeah.
like that weary eye of
Yeah.
like, it's
It's
not
just
there.
where we're at right now.
Yeah.
It consistently has been what we're getting, and it's like it's going to be hard for us to change that.
Yeah, and I say all these things not because it's like, oh, like this is better, or like I'm hating on them. It's like I think I speak, at least for me, I think I speak about these things as much as I do, and I guess with such passion because I'm so passionate about Funko.
Agreed.
Hmm.
It's where I came from as a collector. It's who I first fell in love with as a collector, right? It's what led the floodgates into what I do and collect today in
Hmm.
different shapes and forms. So if I wasn't talking about it at all, I think I'd be dead with it, right? And I think I
Yeah.
speak a bit about it as much as I do is because I still want them to be great, and for my passion for that company to still be there, and it's still wanting that, right? I think
Hmm.
it's more that. I think a lot of people can misconstrue that when you're talking about these things negatively about them, it's part of it. Some people may just genuinely live like, I'm done with Funko. That's it. It's
Hmm.
over. I'm done with them. It's terrible. But I think there's still a large portion that people that are turned off from them is I just want them to be what they were because
Hmm.
I know that's who they can be, type of thing, because I still
Hmm.
want to be a huge fan again.
Yeah.
And I'm still a fan, but just not a
Yeah.
huge fan.
It was just such a big part of all of our lives,
Yeah.
honestly, and
Took the
like
words right out
all
of
of
my
us are
mouth.
like legit collectors from the beginning. That was a big. I mean, it was the main reason I started a YouTube channel. Like I had an unboxing channel, and I was literally
Mhm.
just opening Funko Pops all the time, and like it really like yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I collected stuff in the past, sneakers and things like that, but this was like my biggest collection for a
Yeah,
long time. It was literally what every week I had boxes coming
I
to the
didn't
house.
collect
Like
like
it was just a
anything
thing.
else
Yeah. So
at that point. Like
we're
it
in the same
was
boat. Like we just want that
exactly,
back or something
exactly.
near that, right?
it's
But
just crazy too because like our podcast really is is a documentary of our love and roller coaster ride of Funko. It's kind of wild because like if you were to go back and listen to episodes like 2 years ago, I
Hmm.
don't think anyone would ever think me personally I would ever say anything negative. I basically
Yeah,
shelled for Funko like hardcore. I think it really bothers me, and I'm the same like with you, Alex. Like I just like I want it to be good. I feel like I can never
yeah,
not like Funko, but I also don't want to be one of those collectors who isn't like being like real about it
yeah.
either. Because it's just
exactly.
not gonna like do anything. And that's like once again, like a great thing about Thrilljoy. People were real about it,
Yeah,
and now they fixed it.
yeah,
Like,
exactly. And I think we have such like candid conversations. It was like, I tell you, I'm like, when I don't like something, I don't agree with it. It's like I'm not Thrilljoy till I die, or like they can do no
yeah,
wrong. Um, it's awesome that they hear me out, me personally, and our group, that they hear us out. It's awesome, but everyone has their mess ups. Everything, uh, things are done that you don't exactly agree with, and that's completely okay. But when they do things, when it hits like the core like values of what a collector is, that I think it's something that it's really hard to just kind of like either look past or look away without just completely feeling like, all right, like I think I think I'm being felt unappreciated as a collector. I'm not being heard. I'm not being catered to in any way,
Hmm.
shape, or form. So I'll vote with my money, sort of say.
Yeah, nicely said.
Yes,
Yeah,
perfectly.
but I think we're gonna end it there.
Not for sure.
Thank you, Alex. I mean, great talking. I mean,
This
we'll
is an
we'll have you on
amazing
again, I'm
episode.
sure, because there's
Yeah.
other things that we definitely want to pick your brain on.
No, for sure.
But yeah, this
Yeah.
was a great episode. You gave us a lot of insight, a lot of great stuff on your end, and it's good to know that, like, companies like Thrilljoy and stuff have people like you to kind of like really get the pulse of the community and everything, which is good. I'm glad that they're doing that kind of thing because some other companies need to start maybe doing that.
No,
But
yeah. And I want to thank you guys too because the same way that talking about us and for example myself and the Fab, you guys help keep everyone accountable too. You guys have years of experience as a collectors. You guys have a different eye scope and lens on things. You're candid. You're not afraid to say the things that you feel, what you're happy with, not happy with. It's as an integral part as being the person that says, "Hey, I think you guys should be doing this," and seeing the change. You guys are as that integral part. So, I really appreciate the work that you guys do, the voices that you guys have, and continuing that. So, I became a fan recently, like from you guys, like career as podcasters and stuff. But I've been a fan since, and it's a really great job that you guys do
hmm
Thank you.
thank
That
you.
means a lot to us. We really appreciate that.
for sure.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, we're the little channel who could. I feel sometimes because we are real, but I mean, me and Migs like it that way, and so we
No,
appreciate
for
that other
sure.
people do appreciate that.
No, for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. You got a fan here.
Thank you,
Thank
and
you. Thank
obviously
you.
you got to fan us as well.
Of course, for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
So Charlie, you let everybody know kind of
Yeah.
where to follow everybody and the good stuff.
So,
Podcast.
as always, everyone, please follow us at Clutch Chat on Instagram, at Clutch_Migs, at Clutch_Charlie. And then obviously if you're on the podcast platforms, please give us a follow there, write us a review. If you listen on Spotify, we always have those fun questions that you can answer for each episode. And obviously you can come over to YouTube if you want to see all of our beautiful faces. And we here we like to give it a little extra for people who aren't aware. We'll pop up images which you don't just get from the podcast on the podcast platforms. But while you're here, if you haven't already, we really appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel, like this video, hit that notification bell so you know when new videos are coming out, and obviously comment. One thing I say always, we never leave a comment unread. We reply to everything. So please throw us down there. Let us know, what you're thinking. What did you think of Fundays? Are you excited for the new but Thrilljoy's coming, Rokimoto? Let us know. And obviously, I'm going to throw it over to Alex now to let everyone where they can find you.
For sure. Thanks, guys. You can find me at Thrilljoyseeker _ on Instagram, posting updates all the time about Thrilljoy, my own personal collection, my own journey and stuff. SECC is coming around the corner. June 11th, I believe, is a whatnot stream for Thrilljoy. So I'm sure you guys want to go on. There's going to be a lot of sneak peeks, a lot of information that is going to be given, gearing up towards SDCC. So that's awesome too. And if you do comment, like, and subscribe, and you're following me, I might do a little giveaway for those lucky fans. So let's
Awesome.
Nice.
let's see those numbers up, guys. Come on.
All right, yeah. Make sure everyone you
Appreciate it.
go follow Alex at Thrilljoyseeker. He's the man. His content's awesome, and if you aren't a fan of Thrilljoy already, you will be after you follow him. So,
Thanks,
with that
guys.
being said, thank you for being a part of this episode. Until the next one, collecting is the way. Later.
Peace out.